Welcome back to the channel, and this will be the third and last video that you'll see me do of this part. This is going to be done in Inventor. I've already given a breakdown and kind of my exclamation on what I'm going to do, and in this video I'm going to create this two different ways. So it's going to be very similar to what you've seen me do in the AutoCAD 3D video. So we're going to do the exact same thing here in 3D Inventor. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Okay, so I'm at this dialog box, and in order to get here, all you have to do is hit the new button here at the top. This dialog box should appear. I'm going to assume that this is a metric part, so therefore I'll go ahead and select here, and then I'm going to find the standard millimeter IPT one and go ahead and hit create, right? As we normally do here in Inventor, we got to give it a couple of seconds here, should be somewhere less than a minute. And this is when I like to take the time to thank all of you who are watching this video or who enjoy this content, especially the ones who are, leaving me comments at the bottom and who are subscribing. And if this is your first time checking me out, please, I advise you to go and look through the playlist. I'm pretty sure I have something in there for you if you're a beginner or advanced level or any of the above. And if there's something that you want to see me do, please feel free to go ahead and leave me a comment on that as well. Okay, so it looks like Inventor is just about ready for us to get started, and I do apologize if my computer does seem to be taking its sweet time, which it does seem to be doing today, but it should be all good to go now. So I'm just going to first start off by selecting this icon here, which is going to be able to start my 2D sketch, and I'm going to create this one on the XY plane here. Okay, so like I was telling you in the intro here, I will be creating this a couple of different ways, right? And we're going to kind of decide how we want to make this part. So this first way, I'm going to do it exactly like what I did and what I was referring to in AutoCAD, is that I'm going to make this one using some circles. And that's just kind of a shorthand term for using cylinders. So I'm just going to go ahead and create my first circle here. I'm going to give it its diameter, which is going to be our largest one. So let's go ahead and make this at 64. Let's see, it looks like my keyboard is not typing in 64 today. There we go. Okay, it's kind of large here. Let me zoom out. And now I need to give it a couple of more things here, right? So I need to give it a distance from this center point here. So I'm just going to go ahead and make that dimension from here to here. And now if you remember back on the drawing, it said that this distance is 75, and that's going to be from this circle all the way up here to the top. So I'm just going to tell it that I'm going to use 75 divided by 2. And it looks like my number lock for some strange reason is not working. Let's see, so 75 divided by 2. There we go. Alright, so we have that number, and now we need one more dimension, and that dimension we're going to need is going from left to right here. So if I escape out of that command, I should be able to drag this thing going left to right. Alright, so I got a couple of different options that I can use to create this, right? I can create a dimension from this center point to this one and make it a 0 dimension, or I can try either the horizontal and vertical constraint here. So I'm going to use this vertical one here. You can see that I have that vertical dotted line there. I'll select this center point here, and then that center point. Alright, you see that it did change a different color, so that means it's good to go. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and then we're going to decide which way we're going to do this, right? So when I go to the extrude command, it's going to try to figure out, hey, which direction do you want to send this? Do I want to send it this way? Do I want to send it backwards? Do I want to cut it in half? And just to make it a lot easier on us, let's say we're going to go ahead and send it going the direction that it's going, and the number that we need here is going to be 45. Okay? All right, so we have this one created. Let's go ahead and select this face here. I'm going to select the green plus here to create a new sketch on this. let's go ahead and draw a circle. I'm going to find this center here. I'll click here, kind of drag out and get a preview of that one. And then let's go ahead and put our diameter dimension on this one. And this one should be 55. So I'll type in 55 here, hit enter. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch. Now we need to send that new sketch going back the other direction. So I'm going to use the extrude command. It's going to want to come this way. We're going to reverse the direction. I'm going to tell it that this distance here is going to be 5. And now Inventor should automatically pick up that you want to cut that part, right? So you can see that it did automatically select the cut option here. I'll go ahead and hit the OK button, and there we have it, right? So now we have almost everything that we need to complete this one, this bottom portion. We need to next figure out how far is it out from this face going out this direction. Now I'll jump back over to the drawing and we'll figure it out together. Now I am super glad that these numbers are nice and simple for us, but what we have right now is that we have this shape drawn, and I'm not going to trace over all of it, but we have this shape drawing here on the inside, and what we need to figure out is how far is it from here to here, right? So the math should be nice and simple for us. We did the first extrusion at a distance of 30. We took away 5 from it, right? So that leaves us with 25, and the overall distance here is 45, right? So we have our 25 minus 45, and if you want to do the math on that, that should be simple enough for us. We should be able to come out with that answer. And just to kind of give you a hint, that should be, and I'm sorry for writing over that other one, but it should be 20, right? Okay, so that distance that we're going to do is going to create this circle here. But we're going to create it on this face, and then we're going to extrude it going this direction, right? And now if you want to refer to the drawing over there, what's the diameter of it? We're going to find that the diameter is going to be sitting here at 43. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back over to Inventor. Okay, so now we're going to select on the inside face here. Go ahead and select the icon with the green plus. I'll go ahead and create another circle. I'll go ahead and place it here. And then I'll go ahead and type in the diameter of my circle, right? We discussed that. It should be sitting at 43. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch. We're going to use the extrude command, and then we're going to send it this direction. We calculated that, should be 20. Looks like it didn't take in my number there. There we go. So it calculated that number should be 20. Let's go ahead and hit OK. Now I need to go ahead and put a circle through this. I'm going to wait on that circle just because I'm going to do all of these circles together. I like to keep my circle, or my holes in this terminology, I like to kind of do that at the end, so I keep my holes and all that stuff together. But anyway, this bottom portion should be done. Let's go ahead and jump to the next portion here. So I'm just going to go find the XY plane here, and then I'll go ahead and click on this green icon that says go ahead and create a sketch. Now we're going to work on the top part. I'm going to start off with the circle. I'll go ahead and place it here. It has a diameter of 38. Okay, like we did before, we're going to put in a couple of distances. So we have a distance from here to here. And now I can either type in the 75 divided by 2, or I can do the math of it, which it should be somewhere around, what, 37.5? So either way works. If you want to type in that and have Inventor do the math for you. And just like we did before, I'm just going to use this vertical icon. I'll click this center point here, followed by this one here. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this sketch. Pull this down just a hair so you can see it. We're going to extrude this one, and we're going to send this one a distance of 30. So I'll go ahead and type in my 30 there, hit enter. All right, so now we have these two shapes, and now we need to just go ahead and create that hole. But now we have to figure out what's going on here, what's connecting them. And let's go ahead and jump back to the drawing and see if we can find something that'll kind of help us out on this portion. Okay, so where I'm at now in this drawing is that I have a plane that's going straight down here. And remember that the plane we selected was the XY, right? So that's going to be that plane there. If I was to create this little part here, and what I'm trying to create is this portion here, which is represented on this drawing over here as this portion here in the middle. If I'm trying to create that, I can't put it on this plane. If I do, when I create that shape, it'll be sitting down here. Now, there are some other options I can do. Is I can probably use a asymmetric or something of that nature. But what I like to do is go ahead and try to assign a plane to it. If I assign a plane to that, then it makes it a lot easier when I go to put this stuff together. That means that I can control this middle portion by this plane. Meaning that if this distance changed to 5, I can simply tell that new plane that I create, hey, make that distance 5. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back to Inventor, and we're going to create a new plane. Now when I create this in the other method, we won't have to do this because we can kind of define where we want things there in the beginning. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump back to Inventor. Okay, so now we need to create a plane, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select this icon here. I want to create a plane. Then I'm going to come here and find my XY plane. Once I find that, I'm going to go and find one of these edges, left click and hold on it, and then I'm going to drag it forward, right? So you can see that it kind of pulls a plane going forward. Now it should give me that value that I need. So I'm just going to tell it that this value here should be sitting at 10. Go ahead and type in 10. Make sure that it is going the right direction, and then I'll hit enter, right? We'll take a look at this on the side profile just to make sure that we did do it the correct way. If I click on this right side, you see that that plane is located where I need it to be. Okay, so now I can select this plane, and then I'm going to create a sketch on it. All right, so from this portion, now I'm going to do some, I guess, some little magic here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice the geometry, so that'll get me in half here. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the icon, and then I'm just going to say, hey, go ahead and project in all the cut edges. So it should project in both of those circles, which it did. Next, I'll create a circle sitting right out here, and it has a diameter. Oh, actually, it has a radius of 64. And I'll almost put in a diameter, do a right click, go ahead and select the word radius. Now type in 64. And I'll do the exact same thing here on the other side. So I'm just going to create a circle here, and this one has a radius as well of 64. All right. I'm just going to move this one over a little bit. So I'm just left clicking and dragging that center point and doing the exact same thing here on the other side. All right. Now let's go ahead and use a tangent constraint and say, hey, this circle goes on to that circle, and likewise here at the bottom, right? So I'm just going to keep clicking in that one, and I'll do the exact same thing here on the other side. And I'm just selecting both of those circles. Now I'll go ahead and trim this portion off. And this should be enough for Inventor to be able to figure out what we're looking for. Now, it's not going to automatically select it, because when I go to the extrusion command, what's going to happen is that it's going to ask me to pick what closed profile I need. And what I mean by that, you can see that this circle here is a closed profile, this one here at the bottom is a closed profile, and in between here is a closed profile. Right? So all of those are going to be closed profiles. See if I can go ahead and move this around just to make this a little bit neater. Yeah, let's grab that grip here at the top. It seemed to work really nice on the other one. This one is not complying so easily. Oh well. Now one more time. There we go. Okay. So I have both of these kind of set the way I want them. I'll go to Finish Sketch. Once I select the Extrude command, it's going to say, hey, which one are you looking for? So this is what I was telling you before. I have to go in here and select that profile because that's the one that I want to move. And then I'll give it its distance, which is going to be 10. And now I can hit OK. Let's go ahead and turn this work plane off. I'm just going to find it here in the browser, do a right click on it, and go find the visibility and turn it off. Now I'm ready to go ahead and create the holes in here. So I'll go to Hole. Then I'm going to go find the face that I want it on. So I'll select the face first, and then I'll find the concentric reference, which is going to be that circle. I'll go ahead and type in the diameter of here, and this diameter is 34. Hit enter. Now before I hit enter, I'm just going to verify that it goes through all, right? So I'm just got a simple hold command, and it's going through all, and it's going the right direction. So I'll go ahead and hit OK on this one. That one is done. Let's do the exact same thing here at the top. So I'm just going to select the hold command, select the face, select the concentric reference, which is going to be that circle there, and then give it its diameter, which is going to be 20. And it's going through all, so I'll hit OK. Okay, so now that's this part basically done, you know, relatively easy for us. And it's okay if you want to build it this way. It has a few more things over here, but no one is going to judge you if you did it this way. Now the next way I'm going to show you is going to be using the revolves. So once again, I'm going to refer you back to that 3D AutoCAD video that I've done, and it'll be linked at the end of this video, that you can go ahead and take a look at that if you want to watch it or watch me do that using AutoCAD. But I'm just going to select the new icon here. It should bring open that same dialog box we started with. I'm going to use the standard. I'll go ahead and hit the create button. And next, I'm going to start off by going to start a sketch. And instead of picking the XY plane here, I'm going to be selecting the YZ plane. So I'm going to select that one. I'm going to rotate around. And then I'm going to draw the shape that I need, right? So what I'm going to do here at the bottom is I'm just going to create a line going here to here. Let me move this up a little bit and let's zoom in a hair. And then I'm going to draw out this shape. I'm going to draw a shape that looks, and I'm just going to keep it in line with this one here at the top. So I'll click here and it goes to here. I'll come down this way, come up, make the little lip here, come down that way, go up, come all the way up here to the front, and then close it there, right? All right, so this is the exact same thing I sketched out when I was creating this using AutoCAD. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give this a distance. So just like we did before, I'll go and give it a dimension from here to here. That number is still going to be that 37.5. So let's type in that. Go ahead and hit enter. Now I'll drag this down here in a second, but now I'm going to change this and go ahead and make it a center line. Let's see if I can drag this around without really messing it up, because I know it really doesn't like that. And what I should have done first is set this line. But I'm going to drag this part down here. And I'll grab this one. And then here. And then finally this one. Right? Okay. So I know it looks a little weird here at the bottom, but everything will work itself out. Okay. Next, I need to go ahead and put its diameters on here. So I'll use the distance command, and I can select this center line here. Then select that line there, and it's asking me what is the diameter of that. And remember, this is our big one, so that's going to be 64. Next, let's go ahead and put the next one. So let's work on the inside one here, and that's going to be my small one, and that is set to 34. Let's go ahead and move this over on this side. Okay, we'll go ahead and put this diameter in. This is going to be the 43. And then we should have one more, which is set right here. And that's going to be our 55 one. I'm going to add some more dimensions here to the bottom. So I have a dimension from here going all the way up to here. And remember that that number is 45. Now this is going to start to look a little weird, but just kind of keep in mind that you kind of keep control of how you want this to overall look. I know that this dimension here is going to be set to 30. Okay. My next dimension that I need is going to be this dimension here. Let's zoom in a little bit more. From here to here, that's going to be 5. And now we have to figure out what to do with this distance in between here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a distance from that center point to here. Go ahead and place that dimension here. I'll select the 45 down here at the bottom and divide it by 2. All right, so that keeps that nice and centered. I do need 2 more dimensions, and what it's referring to is that this object here really doesn't have any defining features. So you can either choose to leave it that way, or we can do like we did before here, is go ahead and select, and in this case it's going to be the horizontal. And I can select these endpoints and place them here. That's kind of a common practice that I use just to make sure everything is fully constrained. All right, when I go and hit the finish sketch, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I'll use the Revolve command and it should be able to pick up everything because everything is satisfied. Let's go ahead and hit the OK button. Now the bottom part of this is done. Let's go ahead and now create the next one. So we're going to create a 2D sketch on the origin. And I said origin, I'm sorry, on the YZ plane there. So kind of the exact same thing we did before. Let's go ahead and use the slice geometry here. Now I did tell you in the beginning that I was going to center or line this thing up, and I accidentally made it to the center. But I can go back and adjust that, and that's what I'll do here in a little bit. So don't worry, I made a mistake, but it's an easy fix in this program. I'm going to go ahead and create a rectangle somewhere above here. And then I'm going to follow by creating a line somewhere here. Okay. Just like we did before here is I'm going to put a dimension from this line to this center point. That's my 37.5. When I select this one, I'm going to go ahead and make it a center line here. So I'll select, go to center line there. Let's go ahead and put some dimensions on this. So I'll go to dimension from here to here. It's 30. Then I can go ahead and give it its numbers here. So I can give it a dimension from there. And that diameter is sitting at 38. And then I have another diameter, which is here, which is sitting at 20. And now I'm going to kind of use some of this other stuff. So I want to keep this back part in line with here. So I'll go ahead and come down to here, go to project geometry, select that line there. Hit escape on that. And then we want to make those lines collinear to each other. So I'll select collinear, green axis here, this one. It locks those in place. And then we have that 2 dimensions. So the exact same thing we had before. So I'll go ahead and use the horizontal constraint in this case to line these up. Finish sketch. Let's pull this down a hair. Revolve. And it should be able to create that. Okay. Now what I was telling you before, I made a mistake on this one. I wanted to go ahead and do that offset for me. So I'm just going to go back to this one. I'll expand the revolution and I'm going to double click on this icon of sketch 1. Now what I mean by that is that this number here, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And then I'm going to put a dimension from that line there to this line here. And then I'm just going to tell it 10. The benefit of doing that is that I don't have to create a plane there. My origin plane that's running here, which is the XY plane, should be right here in the middle, so I can go ahead and create a sketch directly on that. And by me tying these two together, it fixed the top one for me. And what I mean by that is if I come and I take a look at this XY plane from the right side, it's automatically set to 10 in front of it. So it's one of those benefits of being able to control it that way. So let's go ahead and create a sketch here. It's almost like the last thing we did here is we're going to go ahead and slice this. Same properties apply here. I'm just going to use project geometry and I'm only going to select these outside circles. If I use the cut one, it'll give me these outside circles as well as the inside ones. Same principle applies here. We're going to create some radius circles that have a radius of 64. Exact same thing here on the other side. 64. Let's go ahead and move these away from each other a little bit. So I'm just going to drag that one here to here. Go ahead and use my tangents. And that's the one thing I don't like. I wish it did have a fillet command, kind of like AutoCAD, but you know, this works just the same. Let's go ahead and trim these portions off. Finish sketch. extrude. It's going to ask me to select. I need to select there. I'm going to send it up a distance of 10. Go ahead and hit the OK button. Okay. So now you can see that we did them, you know, exactly the same. The only difference is that this one is done in what, 3 steps here. And if we jump back over to the other one, it's quite a few more steps, but no one is going to, you know, hold it against you. Both of them are exactly the same. All right. So now if we want to switch over to making a drawing of this, we're going to click on the new icon here. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find the standard millimeter IDW, right? So I want to create an inventor drawing. Let's go ahead and hit the create button. Now, before I'm able to bring any one of these in, I'm going to have to hit the save on one of these. So it's going to ask me that here when I go to create my first part of this. And I know it's taking a little bit long, and this is in the drafting portion. It's going to do a couple of different things. But, okay. Let's go ahead and get rid of our title block since we don't typically use that. Let's go ahead and right click on sheet 1, go to edit sheet. I'm going to change this to a B size. Hit the OK button. And then let's start bringing in the base view. So once I select here, it's going to say, hey, I need to save it. I'll go ahead and hit OK. I'm just going to overwrite the last one I call part 1. That'll be fine in this case. Let's go ahead and move our dialog box to the side here. And I'm just going to drag this one over. And this might be big enough. We might have to go to a, let's see, that's going to be too big. So let's go. I think a 1.5 should work. Yeah, 1.5 looks good to me. Let's go ahead and hit the OK button on that. Let's go ahead and do one project off of that. So I'm just going to project up and create my isometric. Right click, hit create. I'm going to go ahead and drag this over here to this corner. We'll go ahead and cut our section in here. So we'll jump underneath the place views, go ahead and hit the section, click this parent view, find the center or something along here on this middle. I'll do a left click here, come straight down, do a left click. So this is really similar to what we did in AutoCAD. Do a right click, hit continue, and then just come over here to the right of it, do a left click. All right, so you can see that it did create all of this stuff. So we have options here. Kind of like what we did before. If I select this and right click on it, I can tell it not to show the entire line, and then it will break it down and just show the bends. Let's go to the annotation. Let's go ahead and put some center marks on here. So it's just 2 simple pluses. And then I can put a center line in between here by selecting that line and that one. Let's go ahead and put a couple of more center lines on here. So I'll use the bisecting. I'll select those 2 lines there. And then these 2 lines. Okay. So that's all I'm going to need for that. And then lastly, let's go ahead and put some dimensions on. So dimension, I'll do this outside one here. Inside one there. One here. And then finally one on the inside. I have 2 at the top here. Let's go ahead and knock out these radius dimensions. I accidentally found the center point on that one. Let's go ahead and click here. And now these are ones where I may have to do a jog on them. Well, actually, I think I will have to jog them. And let's see, dimension type. I gotta go in the options and then go to jog. And then there's that one. I'll select this one, go underneath options, go find jogged, and I'll have that one. Okay, so I have those 2 done. Now I have all of my dimensions done on here. Remember that I always go and adjust the style later. Let's go ahead and pull this down a little bit. And we may have to move everything up. Yeah, I think it'll be easier to move it up. Let's go ahead and move it up. And that way it'll give me some room here at the bottom to put these dimensions. So I'll go dimension from here to here. Oh, it looks like I got a number that's wrong here, which is easy enough. That's good. So it's 45 here, and it looks like I did the first number wrong. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and adjust this, right? So you can see that this number is set to 60. This one is at 45, and then this one is at 5. And I'm pretty sure it's on this one here. So I'm just going to go here, Let's go back and find the first extrusion and see what we did. And so I sent the first one at a distance of 45 when it actually should have been set to 30. So I'm going to change this number here to 30 and hit the OK button. And then I think that should have fixed everything else because this goes in 5, which is fine. And then this one comes out a distance of 20. Yep. Okay. So this should have fixed everything. So I'm just going to do one save on it. We're going to jump back over to the drawing here and everything should adjust. Perfect. Okay. So now we have those numbers. Let's go ahead and put these other numbers here. And remember that if you want the number to be on the outside, it automatically goes to the first point that you pick, right? So therefore, the 10 is going to sit to the outside. Likewise on this other side. I'm going to pick this side first, go into that side. That 10 should be on the other side. Let's do the final number here. That's set to 30. Okay, I can pull this up a hair. And like I said, these numbers here are going to be controlled in the style. And so if you go to the manage and you hit the style editor, and this is another one of those things where you may have to wait a little bit for the style editor to appear. But when it does, then we're just going to jump to a couple of tabs. So we're going to go underneath the dimension tab, and we should be underneath the default one. And then you can say I have the precision here, and I'm just going to go ahead and take away the trailing zeros. Now that should be all we need to do here. If I hit the save and close, it should automatically take care of all of those zeros that are sitting there at the end of it, right? Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this, and you did see that I made a mistake on this one, but it's really easy to correct if we're using Inventor, whereas using the AutoCAD portion, yeah, we'd have had to do a little bit more work. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you once again for liking, subscribing, commenting, and if this is your first time, feel free to hit the button at the bottom. I really do appreciate it. So once again, thank you for coming back and listening to me. See you in the next video.